Hello, everyone. So here is Moonlight Soul, and welcome to episode 8, part 2 of Stars and Cards, where myself and my co-host Marisa from Growing the Flow are going to talk about post-eclipse energies and entering the Scorpio season. So stay tuned. Welcome, Marisa.
Hello, we're back. We're meeting in the middle.
Yeah, oh my God, this eclipse season is just crazy. So this is the in between the two eclipses, guys. So first eclipse hitting us hard, and then let's see what the second one has in store for us, because that is happening in Scorpio season. So different energy.
Yeah, just starting to think about this because as we're dipping our toe into what might be on the other side. I was just feeling this feeling of like when you go on an amusement ride, and let's say there's like a lot of spinning or a lot of movement, and then you get off, but you still feel like you're on the ride, or you still kind of feel like you're moving and you're just sort of getting your bearings. That's kind of how I feel we might find ourselves here, just sort of, again, recalibrating and reacclimating and getting each of those different energetic bodies into alignment as we move in through this in between. So I think we're going to feel in here to best guidance as we navigate this place where we come in between rides, I'll say.
Exactly. And I think it's so profound because normally we would have the eclipses in opposition, so like Libra and then Aries, but I think it's so perfect that it's Taurus because it's the feminine energy of the Scorpio. So we would have the alignment of currently like we just having this Libra eclipse, which is a masculine energy during Libra season, which is a masculine energy, and then we're going to switch and go into Scorpio season and have a Taurus eclipse, which is both feminine energy, and also with the Libra solar eclipse, which is the new beginning of this upcoming 18 months period of eclipses. And now Taurus is capping the last 18 months period of eclipses, which were happening between Taurus and Scorpio. So I think it's such a profound, this literally, like you said, this in between, like getting off the roller coaster and then like, where are we, like being really confused and like what's actually going on. Is it the past, is it the future, what is it, where are we?
Yeah, definitely. Like getting our bearings, kind of just taking a moment, taking a breath, right? And just getting grounded. So I think that's a good point too about the Taurus energy. It's just getting grounded, right? And just coming back to earth from all that air and energy, and maybe just kind of getting those bearings. So let's dive into the cards so we can see
Let's
what's
see.
coming up.
Yeah.
Another favorite, Light Seers, right, by Chris Ann. So we're going to use this beautiful deck for our spread. And let's see. So we usually do our 3 cards. We might end up picking a 4th. We'll see, right? We did 4 last time.
You'll see if there is a 7 of cups.
I know. It's like, let's call your predictions out now, Mila, because it happens every time.
Because that's usually
like,
the card.
The 9 of Swords.
That's
I pull like the 9
where,
of Swords.
where I feel like, oh, we need another one if it's 7 of cups.
And then like you notice that it's like 7, 8, 9, and then say pull one more and it's a 6, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, come on. It's like, and when we're doing it in the moment, it doesn't always register to me. I'm like, are you kidding me? When we're finished, I was like, wow, that is really stuff you can't make up.
But I mean, and I forgot to mention it on the part 1, but we are in eclipse season, which is a very karmic time. It's like we are pretty much guided by the destiny. The universe is in charge here. I mean, yes, we have a free will, but we are being gently or not so gently pushed in certain direction. So like, let's not try to pretend that we are like fully in control of everything at all times, because now is the eclipse season. So,
Yeah, I'm really feeling the ride analogy right now because like the reason I didn't say roller coaster, even though let's be honest, I do not like roller coasters, and I know you, my soul sister, also do not like roller coasters. So whether I'm on the merry-go-round or any of the other rides, whatever they are, we aren't always in control in terms of where the ride is going. It's about how I'm experiencing the ride is the part where I step into some degree of ability to set that tone.
Exactly.
So we'll see what's coming up. Oh, that one's sticking. Okay, Ace of Swords. Maybe
Ooh.
some clarity. So we didn't need all 9 swords. I always say that. You don't need all 9 of those swords, just the one, just the clarity, this idea that comes in and really hits home. So we'll see where that takes us.
But that's
Get these
perfect
other.
because last time it was the 9, which was the culmination, and now it's the new beginning.
Oh my goodness. Wheel of Fortune,
Ooh,
card
the dial
10,
is turning. The dial is turning.
1, 10. Let's see what else. To be, know, do, and be. Oh, that one's looking at me. Okay, there's our Knight of Cups. Okay, so we
Ooh.
got a little court card energy coming in here as well. Good to know. So we'll see where we get with these 3, and maybe we'll build on that.
Well, that's interesting because you were, kind of like getting a hint of like, oh, it's a new moon in Libra, maybe new relationships, and here you got Mr. Charming, right? The Knight of Cups and the
Oh my gosh,
Wands.
that's so funny that you say that, because didn't we say about that 9 of Swords that Sleeping Beauty woke up and it wasn't Prince Charming, it was an ogre, but we talked about the tricks and the treats and things not necessarily being as they appear in costume or any of that. So yeah, I'm feeling those breadcrumbs coming in, because also that idea of Prince Charming, romance, but there's so many different ways that can be expressed, on this new relationship that you might be establishing with yourself, even, again, between higher self and ego self or inner child, and any aspects of self that have all been getting highlighted from all those relationships, begins a new courtship, between aspects of you, and also, maybe with a more loving and compassionate and giving more grace to the beast within us that we talked about last time, those more gnarly parts, but yet they serve a purpose too. So that could go a lot of different ways, but there's definitely another nod there to that Libra energy potentially bringing in romance on the scene. For
Yeah,
sure.
this to me like feels, because as we were talking before we press record, that all these Libra solar eclipse, there were so many closing phases with regards to the south node and sun and Mercury and all that. And actually in this following up week, we had the Mercury conjunction with the south node, sun conjunction with the south node. So this is all the new cycles beginning. Also Mercury conjunction with the sun. And then of course at the end of this week, we have Mercury moving into sign of Scorpio and Sun moving into the sign of Scorpio. And this is the 22nd and the 23rd of October. So we start in a new season. And with this energy of the ace, which is like this new energy coming in, the one sword, the new idea, this new thought process, this clarity, that suddenly we see something we didn't see before because it's a new phase. So there is this unlimited new potential again. And then the 10, which again is the completion of the old cycle, starting a new one, and the dial is turning. And yeah, and this court card is interesting how that might fit into all of that. So what you tapping into here?
Yeah, well, I love this version because I love a Nautilus shell analogy, okay? Because of the spiral, because of this coming around again energy of moving through. We talked about last time all that mental monkey mind activity that could be like swiping through, playing back scenarios, going back over things in the mind. And yeah, we see all of that winding, spiral energy here. And yet, yes, this is familiar. Yes, this is something that old circumstances I found myself in time and again. But this time I come at it from this higher perspective, with this clarity, with this aha, with this sword of truth that we know from the last time that was gleaned from within me, right? So I tuned into my internal truth detector or scales to balance out and brought through some awareness, and that now I'm receiving that energy coming in, versus we talked about last time that strength card, but it was control and it was shrouded and navel gazing and heavy on the head. She's actually open to receiving this light that's coming in, bringing in this clarity. So whatever chapter, whatever circumstances it has been highlighting for you, there are some new awarenesses that are coming in, and the aces are just new beginnings and offerings of some new energy that's coming in. And in the Suit of Swords, we're talking about, you know, thoughts, beliefs, ideas, inspirations even coming in. So some people may actually be feeling rather inspired, could be feeling, you know, some creative energy that comes from having moved through this cycle, you know, that you now find. And again, with the ride, you know, feeling a little dizzy, but also but also just finding our center, bringing it back into center, you know, and getting that clarity.
That's what I was thinking, that when you get off that ride, you actually see world a little bit differently. And I'm just trying to check here because I know we'll be airing this on Thursday. So actually on Thursday, we have the Mercury in an exact conjunction with the South Node. And the day after on Friday, we'll have the Mercury conjunct in Sun. So this is really to me perfect, because with the Mercury South Node conjunction, then obviously is the ending and the new beginning. And like you said, there is a new clarity, and Mercury is our thought process, is our thinking process. And especially as it will be followed by this Mercury Sun conjunction, which, you know, just before Mercury completely conjuncts the Sun, and then right after is this Kazimi, which is like this rebirth, which is the point of brand new clarity, which is the point where you might get this download or these answers which you were seeking and suddenly it's just there. So I really feel that this week in between the eclipses, this all might just fall into place for you, because there are these chapters closing, and Mercury is involved almost in every single aspect that is taking place this week. And Mercury is our thinking, our cognitive function, but it's also the messenger. It's you know, the archetypal, you know, this archetype that traveled from the gods into, you know, to people and then to underworld, and it was just going from place to place, sending, you know, bringing messages and helping people to have this connection to both sides. And that's what I feel that with this Ace of Swords, because again, it's the thinking process, is this Libra, and we are just, you know, by this point we will be ending the Libra season and just about to start the Scorpio season. But I really feel that it's so interesting how right after the eclipse we have all these new phases happening for Mercury, and there is the opportunity to see things differently, to identify them from a different point of view, this multidimensional understanding of what is actually happening and what is it all for.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that, just like this clarity, or tuning in to something that, you know, again, we've seen from all different angles, or maybe we spent a lot of time seeing it just from one angle, that now there's some different perspectives coming in. And I think that as that is winding up Libra season, then we do have this energy coming in where the wheel turns, right? So we have the Wheel of Fortune, and I love this version. I love these cards. I will say it again. You know, she is finding her center point and trying to balance, you know, and also I love the fuzzy dice around her neck, because it is a stroke of fortune or luck. You know, typically this does suggest moving in a fortuitous direction. So on an upswing, you know, the wheel turns, the dial turns, and we're moving into a new chapter, a new phase, a new beginning, and a new season. So now we're bringing in Scorpio season. And of course, here we have, she's also bringing in just the light and the dark, you know, this energy of both, holding both. She's literally having it come from her fingertips. So she can hold both the light and the dark. She can hold the polarity of the two while it's, to me, this is like, I think I said this before, like standing on one foot, rubbing your belly, chewing gum, patting your head, like doing all these things at once, you know, like all these things that maybe you didn't think you could ever do all at once. And yet you have this expanded capacity to actually hold the new that is coming in, perhaps in this very precise, very, you know, this arrival does feel pretty direct, but she is finding her footing. And again, there's all these different layers too. So they're all turning at once. So a lot of spinning plates, a lot of different areas. So whether we're looking at your microcosm in your little world on the small stage, or we're looking at the macrocosm on the big stage, you know, and everything in between, all spinning at once and all containing both. And so there's this energy of this movement. And of course, like we say, this is number 10. So we still find ourselves here in the 10th month. bringing in, wrapping up the old and ushering in the new.
And to me, it's so perfect because actually, and I know we're not here to talk about the second eclipse just yet, but it will be happening in conjunction with Jupiter. And this card represents Jupiter. The Wheel of Fortune is the Jupiter, which is like this good luck. So it's again an opportunity for like, what do you want? You know, because Jupiter is like, you know, in traditional astrology, it could be perceived as the Father Christmas. It is the yes card. It says yes. So again, with this, whereas in the past reading, the reading we just done, the part 1, there was the 9 of Swords, which was this cloudiness around the head. You know, we were all like drawn in a fear and anxiety. And now this is a completely different energy. There is this woman that is completely connected. There is this neutral shelf, which is again, things are coming around, but now she's connected. She's making a different choice. She's perceiving situation differently because there is a different point of view. And then at the same time, we have this energy of Jupiter, which is saying that the world is your oyster, the universe is your oyster. So now you have this new clarity of mind, this new way of perceiving the situation. What do you want to manifest with that?
Yeah, roll the dice, take a chance, you know,
Exactly.
yeah, play that game, you know, because there is this energy of new possibilities. Or, well, you know, like as you were just saying about it coming around again, which is, you know, all the old, nothing is new under the sun, as you've been saying. So it's like, yeah, it is the same old stuff. It's the game, but I've shown up from a different place. I'm here now to play the game from this empowered place. You know, look at me, I'm standing on one leg, I'm patting my head, I'm rubbing my belly, I'm chewing gum, like I'm doing all the things. And so there's this energy of, it just feels, actually, I want to be right here in this high vibe place of just feeling like, wow, there's really an expansive potential that could, you know, is really like some possibilities are being shown on that, and then we could potentially make a move from that place.
Exactly.
You know, and step into that next eclipse in that position.
And I even feel like she's like on the top of the world. She's on the top of the world, you know, even though it's Wheel of Fortune, not the world card, but she's like on the top of the world, because to me it feels, because it's like the middle point, isn't it? The Wheel of Fortune is the middle point of the major arcana, and we are in between the eclipses by this point. So I'm really thinking that, how do you want the second half of the journey to go for you? So that's what I'm feeling, because like with the new moon in Libra, we see it in the intentions, even though you know, like there are astrologers who would say that, oh, this is not a good time to set intentions, but it's divinely orchestrated. It's like new moon on steroids. And I mean, it's again about the belief system. What do you want to believe? Do you want to be scared by it, or do you want to see it as a divinely orchestrated opportunities, potential, where, like you said, the veil is thin? So there is this opportunity to connect to the cosmos, maybe in a way that is not available to us at different times. So really, like her being on the top of the world, and you know, like on this one leg, so she feels that she's so grounded in this place, you know, place of wherever she finds herself. And it gives you the opportunity to see things from this bird's point of view, this higher perspective of being in this higher elevated place. And decide, where do you want to go from here?
Yeah, I love that. And it feels like maybe where you want to go from here is here. No, but it's actually perfect, because I love this card, because we do bring in this wearing one's heart on the sleeve, this chivalrous energy, but there is this like hat in hand, roses, picnic, white horse, you know. If I was thinking about how I might want to spend a day or an evening, that's the energy that we want to channel here, right? Like making it whatever you want it to be. So whatever that is for you, this is representing that, you know, like the knights here bring this message or offer of this possibility and these roses, you know, as this blooming into the new. And so it feels like, you know, court cards, of course, can represent aspects of you or other people around you or personalities or an energy that you're invited to embody. And so, yeah, if I'm feeling extra lucky, if I'm feeling Like, you know, it feels like, how would I want to spend that time? And you're thinking about, you know, I could spend that time in those lower vibrational places we came from in our previous card pull, in that place of fear and lack and all of that, or, you know, pulling out all the stops and having like our dream date, you know, to experience this energy.
And I really feel also, because it's like, you know, to me, this kind of talks about, well, what kind of relationships do you want to visualize for your future? But even though this guy represents like a male, you know, like is the knight of cups, but whatever relationships, you know, because we just had this new moon in Libra solar eclipse. We were talking about relationship paradigm is changing, things are changing, we're not going back. The old way of relating is just not going to take us any further. So with these cards are actually saying, well, what kind of relationships would you want? You know, what do you want your perfect relationship to look like? But this doesn't necessarily just mean you're one-on-one with your other half. This is like any relationship, because Libra is all our relationships. So I feel that this is definitely an opportunity to, and I also say this to my clients, and this is not something that I obviously come up with, but like a lot of teachers that I follow say that you don't need to write a list about what you want your perfect guy to look like. You feel into it. How do you want to feel with this person? And because this is the cups, it's about this emotion. So it's like, how do you want these relationships you want to be experiencing going forward? What do you want them to feel like? How do you want to be feeling in this environment, whether it's your boss or whether it's your friend or whether it's your, you know, partner or whatever it is, you know, whether it's just this world as a whole, like you were saying in the last reading, you know, this desire for balance in the world. So what would that feel like to us? Let's just feel into it and make it happen.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because it's embodying it. So if I put my focus on being what, and of course that's the position it's in, so even more perfect. This is our to know, to do, and be. So if I want to be my ideal, the embodiment of what is ideal to me, then as when I am embodying that energy, then that is the vibration that I'm setting out to call in, right? My expectation equals magnetization of what I am magnetizing in. So really spending this time putting our energy into how we want to feel, and then allowing the details to be filled. Let the universe then like, again, like you say, like whether this is about planting seeds or if you should or shouldn't, that I feel like I'm back in my head. As soon as we start saying that, like, wait a minute, okay, so new moons are the ones where we make the wishes and we plant the seeds, but not if it's an eclipse, and not if here I am. I'm like, okay, what am I doing? Like, it's like, you know, I'm just going to focus on how I want to feel, right? The feeling, the heart, and then allow all of those details to materialize, because you can call it whatever you want. Whether did I technically manifest on that moon or not, you know, like I'm just focusing on how I want to feel. And in being that, embodying that, then the rest is then called in through that frequency.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think this is just such a beautiful energy, and it feels so much lighter from the energy for the solar eclipse. Like, obviously we don't know what's coming at the end of the month with the lunar eclipse, but to me straight away, because there is a lot of unpacking obviously happening after and in between the eclipses. But this to me feels very, and I'm surprised there is no star card, but this to me feels very hopeful. Like there is the energy is completely different from what we were tapping into for the solar eclipse. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel that too. It does. It feels lighter. It feels more like, again, I feel like it's on top of the world. It feels like finding my footing and feeling like, okay, we're getting our bearings here before we get on the next ride, so that we're ready to go, you know? So I feel that too. I feel like we need to pull another card just to kind of cap it off.
And I feel the four is like the card of stability, isn't it? Like it's
yes, yes, we need that other. Yeah, she's on one leg, but we're gonna need to have something to balance it out on the other side.
And I also feel, while you were saying that, you know, that girl being on the top of the wheel, it's like when you find the own stability and sense of steadiness within yourself, just like the first card indicates, you need to get it sorted within you first, and then feel this sense that no matter what the situation, when you are on a piece of a wheel or wherever you are, you have that steadiness. Then yeah, you can create whatever you want. because
Yeah,
it's
whatever's
from that
happening with
planet.
all those plates spinning beneath me, it doesn't matter, because as for me, I'm up here in my center. I am empowered. I am standing here on my own solid ground, no matter what's happening with each of those aspects. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it.
Best advice for us here as we bring in the fourth leg.
Ooh!
Seven of Pentacles. So there are some seeds that were planted, I see.
Investments for the
Yes,
future.
definitely coming into harvest. Right over here with the Knight of Cups is his cousin, the Seven of Pentacles.
Whoa, the 7 is not leaving us.
No, the 7 energy is still here. Now this, and again, we'll talk about it when we get into the eclipse itself, but as far as our time machine, how far back it takes us, you can tell these seeds have been working for a while, you know, in order to get to this point where they have rooted and they've sprouted and they're starting to produce something on the external that we can see that's materializing, because the pentacles are bringing us into perfect as we move into that Taurus energy there, the earth, practical, tangible, material energy, that it feels like, again, as this gets into the next topic that we'll explore next time, this how to know, to do, and be brings in this best advice about recognizing that these seeds were planted a long time ago. Like, we'll talk about the fact that this eclipse then will have us looking all the way back to November of 2021, right? So what was going on since that, this is culminating that eclipse cycle that we'll talk about. But it feels like, you know, these seeds have been planted, and feel into what was going on around you in that time period, and what you may have been looking to bring into harvest in your life and to bring into fruition. Those are the things that we're starting to see materialize. And as we know, it's been a wild ride getting from there to here, all the things that have happened in between. You know, this card talks about pausing to reflect on that, to really take in all that all the work you've already done, all the versions of you who already put in all the time. And I'm literally seeing, with all my things, I'm literally seeing the cards we were just looking at, like, oh yeah, I remember that was me, disempowered, in fear, worrying about this, and I churned it around, and my 9 of Swords, and I this and I that, like, oh, I remember when I did that. Now I know how that thing turned out, and then now I made a new choice on the other side of that, and then that choice brought me here. Now I'm standing here like this, right? And I'm like, I got all this stuff, and here I'm starting to really see that this is actually materializing. This is actually happening, and allow yourself to just sort of pause and be proud of the work that your higher self, your inner child, and every aspect of you has been bringing into reality, is what I'm feeling there, before we persevere into bringing it home on the other side.
Exactly. And I just wanted to say that when you were pulling the first 3 cards, I was like, oh yeah, we're missing Earth, because the Ace of Swords is the air, the Wheel is the fire, there is the water, and I'm like, we need some Earth. And then I was thinking, well, yeah, it's gonna be Taurus lunar eclipse, so they're gonna be the Earth, but it's so perfect that it's this Earth. And also, I know that my tarot teacher, he always says that the 7 of Pentacles, it's like you just want to give up, you know, because you're looking at this 1 pentacle and like, oh, I put all this effort, where are my pentacles, you know, and it's right there around the corner, you just don't see it quite yet, but it's right there, it's coming. And it's so perfect because the eclipse is right there around the corner, this full moon in Taurus, the full moon, like you said, that this is literally the last one of these 18 months, you know, almost 2 years of this period of time when we had these eclipses between Aries, Taurus, and Scorpio. And literally this video is right 1 week before, so it's like almost there. We're almost there, okay? We're almost there. So don't give up, because as you can see, there is already a sprouting, there is already something growing. It's not right all of it out there, but it's already coming, and there is so much that we don't see yet. And yeah, I think it's beautiful. It's perfect.
There is so much we don't see. I love that take on it from your tarot teacher, because yes, that's why I was saying persevere, because it's like, don't give up. reflect and see how far you've already come. And there's things that you can't even see. This has been working for you this whole time, even when you were over there like, oh, you know, feeling like nothing's happening. And even now it's like, really, this is it, this little sprout? Like, surely by now I would have like a whole tree here. But it's so true. There's so much going on under the surface.
Exactly.
Also perfect, because where is Scorpio season going to invite us to go? You know, coming
deep within.
Right, going within, going deep in there and seeing like, wow, there's really all this like inner working going on, like behind the scenes. Like there's all of this for this one idea, this one like inspired action, this thing that's coming in. There was all of this that goes on behind the scenes, all of this going on beneath the surface. And again, it's things of all kind. You know, the wheel of fortune is all. So there's up, there's down, there's dark, there's light. And so yeah, sometimes we're in that swing of the ride, that we're now, again, as we shift our perspective and come into this place, we're able to see it from these different places where it's like, I recognize that lower vibrational feeling. I recognize this lower vibrational place that I've been in before. And now we're really starting to embody this energy that enables us to navigate that from a very different place than past versions of us have.
Wow. And I just like literally just looking at this card, like straight away, like so many breadcrumbs. But the main one I want to mention out of that is that when you look at the cards again as a one sequence, like imagine there is a person, like, because obviously from the previous reading, we know things are coming to the end. Things are coming to the end. We're not going that way anymore. There is the big cross, it's ending, right? Like the old way of relating, finger pointing, culture, all this is not going to take us very much further. Things are changing. They have to change. We have no choice anymore. Pluto is squaring the nodes this entire year. Pluto was squaring the last eclipse. It still will be kind of within the degree squaring the Taurus eclipse. Things are changing, okay? But when we look at it from the other point of view, because when things, as the, you know, Pluto archetype, the Scorpio, things go there to die. You know, Scorpio season is the season of transformation. Yes, this whole month is a transformation month, but especially Scorpio season is the time of transformation, transmutation, death and rebirth, metamorphosis. And when I look at this sequence of the card, it's like it starts with the thought. All you need is one thought. It starts with the thought. And then when you trust yourself, and you go after it, this fire, the fire of creation, you trust yourself, you believe in yourself, this Jupiter will support you. And then by, you know, like, because to me, she's like, she had the thought, now she's standing in the top of the world seeing like the lighthouse, you know, like you said, you created, they will come. And that's what she's doing. She's literally standing there, that this is what I want to create, who is with me. And then this guy is like, okay, here are my people. Like, you know, exactly what I said, relationship is not just your one romantic partner. This is what kind of relationship, what kind of people you want to have around you. And then the last time is saying they are coming, you know, and then you can grow something together. So I feel with this, literally what's happening collectively and individually, that things are shifting, where we are starting to understand you don't have to be everything for everyone. You don't have to be, you know, like doing what everybody expects you to do. Like that's actually what I was talking about in one of my last YouTube video, where I said, you know, if you put like, this is the analogy my evolutionary astrology teacher always uses. If you take the polar bear out of his natural environment but put him in a Sahara desert, he's not going to survive. But it's nothing wrong with the polar bear. He's just in the wrong environment. And what I feel is happening now collectively, a lot of people are starting to understand that there is actually nothing wrong with me or what I want. Maybe just I'm not around the right people, you know, and it's nothing wrong with these people, but maybe it's just not the thriving environment for me. Because there is another analogy where they said that if the flower is not blooming or something, you don't, there's nothing wrong with the flower. You just have to move it, right? Exactly. So that's literally what the download I got when I like really looked at these cards, and I'm like, this is exactly what it's about. Be birthing a new relationship paradigm, which is of course new balanced way of relating to one another, but also starting to, based on you knowing yourself and trusting yourself and believing yourself, and no longer feeling guilty and ashamed for being who you are, but actually being authentic and brave and courageous. You are going to meet people who will be the right people for you, and then you can grow whatever you want to grow, a better world for all of us.
So perfect, because yeah, I was, as you were describing that analogy, I was like, I have actually seen that, some version of that meme several times recently about that. When the flower doesn't grow, we don't change the flower, we change the environment. Now, as above, so below, as within, so without. So as you go in, as you focus inside, and we're focusing on you, how do I want to feel? How am I feeling? Getting in line with that, that again reverberates out, and the environment changes. You don't
Exactly.
physically transport to somewhere else to plant your flower. You're still here, but the environment has shifted and changed, raised its vibration to meet you. So it's perfect. I mean, that's exactly, the work is being done in here, but it's completely it's inextricably linked to the relationships, to the outside. So it's all connected. But whereas for me and my focus, where that yellow highlight last time was bringing me in to pay attention, is in here. And as I focus on that and it reverberates out, then the environment will reflect back to me.
And
Yeah.
that's pretty much what the teaching of Dr. Joe Dispenza is saying. He's like, if you try to move matter with the matter, it's going to take a long time, very long time. But why try to move matter with matter when you can, like, be entering the age of Aquarius? Pluto is moving into Aquarius next year. And this, we're going to start operating on a different principles, you know. So all this matter with matter, and I need to save 50 years to buy a house and all these kind of things. Well, we can create things in a different way. Maybe we don't understand it, maybe we don't know all the concepts of that, but there is a different way. So why try to spend your entire life struggling for that one pentacle to grow, where there are so many pentacles you can't see, and all we need to do is just tune into how can I access it, and there is a different way. So I mean, I'm tuning into something different here, but I just really feel that there is so many things that are available, but because we are stuck in this old story and this, you know, like the last reading with this thought process, and always identifying things through the past experience, that there are a lot of things that we think are not available, but they are. We just need to tune into them, and the work always starts from within, because the answers are already in there. So I really feel that this entire quartet, it's talking so much about this positivity, even though there is no star card, but still the energy to me is very much like that there is this hope that things are shifting.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, there's so much there. Like you said, I'm tapping into something different too. When you say that, just feeling like the old way of doing it, it's not to negate that. Again, when we thought about those past versions of ourselves and where we came from, as we came through this spiral, as we've been on this ride, prior versions of me and ancestral lines and those before us, and everything that established what we have known that we're shifting from, served a purpose. And there was a time, and there was something to be said for the mortgage and the pocket watch from the company that we were, you know, all of those things have all been a part of our story, our experience, and they've informed us. And now as we stand here, we look at all those different potentialities, all those different frequencies, all those different floors on the elevator that all have truth and all have a reality that, you know, we may or may not have been in ourselves, or that we've inherited, all the things all coming into this new, you know. So there is definitely just this, but in between, this between point where we're sort of culminating all of that, and but we're greeting it again with love, with compassion, with grace, with gratitude, you know, for the role that each have played to get us to this new paradigm, this new place where this, yeah, these two together is showing this new template that of how you can create and bring things into a materialization. So yeah,
And I
big
really
stuff, but
I
yeah.
really feel that what you just described with these ancestors and the experiences, and we had that experience, not in maybe this lifetime, but we all been there. And this is another thing, just a side note, which I try to explain to my clients when I do a reading, that we've all been all this. You know, we've all done all this. We've all had these experiences, but this is a lifetime when things are changing. We came here to change things. But what I was really trying to say, now it's escaped me. I talked myself out of it. But what you were just saying just a moment before, because there was something
of all the different versions of where we
yes.
came from, that they all served a role.
Yes, this is exactly what's happening on a day when we're releasing this video, the Mercury conjunction with South Node. South Node in Libra is the past, is all the relationships, all the ancestors, everything we came from. And Mercury is how we identify the reality. Mercury also in traditional astrology is how we trade it, how we make business, how we make money, you know? Like, yes, it's not the finances, but it's the contracts between people. Like how we were creating our reality based on how we identify it, you know, like the people used to, like in the old days, you know, all in the markets and stuff, like it was different and it served its purpose and it was exactly what we needed at the time. But now on this day, Thursday, Mercury is conjuncting South Node, starting a new phase again with the South Node, which is saying we're shifting from that past. It played its role, it served its purpose, but now Mercury also squaring Pluto, and there's going to be Pluto-Mercury conjunction next year. So this is again, we are going to start a new cycle. Mercury-Pluto conjunction, there will be a new cycle where we are transforming that, transmuting that. We are going to identify a new way of perceiving reality, which is going to be supporting us on this path of evolution where we are seeking empowerment, self-empowerment, individuation, in a sense that we can be exactly who we were born to be without having to make adjustments based on other people projection expectations or some unhealed ancestor wounding, because all that is coming to the end right now. That's why it's so heavy.
Yeah, all these shedding all these different skins of the soul, you know, and as you were saying about, you know, we've all played at all these roles. I was brought back to tricks and treats and the different costumes we've worn and the different, you know, what we are donning ourselves in and who we have tried out being and play, you know, and I think it's such a, I mean, it's a segue into our final oracle card pull for this episode, because we're going to use a Halloween oracle to bring in some fun for the season. That, you know, the costumes that we choose and thinking about this concept of dressing up and whether you're tapping into something that you always wanted to be, so you get to play that character or that profession or whatever it is, and you can really have fun with the physical materialization of this idea of what does it look like for me to be, I don't know, I'm thinking of all the costumes I've been in my life, like a punk rocker or a cheerleader or you know, all these different costumes. My favorite ever, I was a flapper from the 1920s, which I've always felt very connected to that time. And when I see myself in that costume with the wig and the pearls and the little fringy dress and all the things, you know, from the 1920s, from Prohibition era, as we had here in the US, I literally feel like I'm looking at like a past version of me, of a role that I played in another time and place. Like, it's just so funny because it's such a silly way to bring it back into, you know, dress up, but it really is an analogy for, as you were just saying, it's peeling away these layers and stripping away and getting to our most authentic self. And the point is, I'm all those things. I've played all those roles. I was a punk rocker. I was a cheerleader. I was a flapper. You know, I did all those things for fun, you know, of course, but I'm saying that we can channel that energy, and it starts here and it's brought into materialization.
Exactly.
So, love
Perfect.
that. All right, well, let's pull our, don't know what we're going to get. This is another super fun Stacey DeMarco deck. So Halloween Oracle, we've used this for our October month ahead readings. I just did a pick a card with this deck. So there are some very fun and interesting cards in here. So we're going to see what's coming forward for our collective here as you are tuning into this episode. And, you know, these cards are always meant to find you when they do. So if you're seeing this and it's not Thursday and it's a different time, there's always something to be gleaned, even if it's not Halloween, you know, all those things. There's a message in here for us. So we're just asking for a little oracle message here to cap us off. Oh, I love this one. This deck has a couple of different skulls, the skull of light, the skull of stars, as this one is. Oh, Mila, if I couldn't pull you a star card, I still pulled you a star card. You still called it.
I was just tapping into the star card this entire reading. I'm feeling the star card.
Yeah, you're like, but we don't have a star, but yes, we do. We have the skull of stars, and it says infinite possibilities. And once again, we get a little maybe eclipsean energy happening here. But I love the energy of the skull because it really is like this stripping away, the peeling the layers, picked clean to the bone. You know, when you take away all that stuff, what is left, you know, that core, you know, and but this card, of course, is going to talk about what is possible. It's talking about infinite possibilities as the skull of stars. And because these cards are so unique, they just have beautiful messages all on their own. So I'm just going to
What number is it?
Message.
What number?
What's that?
What number is it?
It doesn't have a number. It's on page 57.
12, number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Number of creation.
Mm-hmm.
Number of Jupiter.
See, we knew we'd find the connection in there. So every card comes with a little poem. It says, "Why think so small when galaxies spin within? Realize that you are made of the stuff of stars and infinite possibilities begin."
Ah,
perfect, right?
That's perfect description of Jupiter.
Perfect of Jupiter, perfect of as within, so without, as above, so below, all of it. It's all within you. It's all in your template, you know, and that it's all connected. Yeah. So it's talking about this particular skull, bringing us back to the fact that we're all made of stars, the stuff of stars, and yet many of us think so small. That we are each born with a blank canvas to paint upon, and we are indeed an open sky of possibilities. It's easy to feel small in a world that is so busy, impersonal, and seemingly self-absorbed. We can at times feel lost and unclear about our direction and lose sight of our place in the cosmos. The skull of stars reminds us that we are only limited by our own imagination and boundaries. If we can dream it, it is possible. Wow. So, speaking of Jupiter, this card indicates that you need to think bigger and more broadly about your future and what you would like to achieve on your dream date with your big bad self. And perhaps these are false beliefs, often old, that no longer serve you as you grow and change. Sometimes these beliefs may not even be yours. They may have been imparted to you by your parents or the wider community, yet feel rather incongruent to you. You need to endeavor with all of your heart and soul to live the life you want and honor your own wishes and truth.
Oh my God, this is so perfect, because this is exactly what I was saying in the previous video, that the solar eclipse, new moon in Libra, was happening in conjunction with South Node, but in a closing phase. And Venus, as the ruler, is the ruler of Jupiter, and Jupiter is in a closing phase with Uranus. So that means the story is outdated, it's ending, because it's not even your values, it's not your needs, it's not your relationship to yourself anymore. It's something else, which we are now transmuted and stepping into something different, something new, something undiscovered, something that we feel excited about, but yeah, insecure as well, that comes with it. But there is this unlimited potential, because yes, that's what Rumi said, right? Why are you playing so small? Like the whole entire universe is within you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this card just summed up everything that we just talked about today. So I don't know what to say other than well done, us, because wow, this is exactly what we were channeling and bringing in for sure. I mean, it's so perfect, even looking at those old versions and the fact that they might not even be ours, as much as we feel that, and we've been carrying it and perpetuating it and reflecting it, and our relationships are showing it to us. It's actually not even something. Last time we talked about how those feelings can seem so real, and we can come to identify ourselves as the feeling, but actually it is not. You know, it is passing through. It is a layer. It is but a layer that, as this card is showing me, that we're peeling back and coming to the most down to the bone the crux of it all is shining your own unique light into the world, in which there are infinite possibilities. Don't limit yourself and play small.
Wow, that's perfect.
Yeah.
This is just such a perfect card to close this reading, because it's exactly the energy that I was feeling into the entire reading. Like
I
there's a
know.
star card somewhere.
I know. I'm like, I don't know. We're done pulling tarot cards, so the star didn't show up, but it was always the energy is all. That's the thing. It's just because we don't immediately see it reflected back to us in our current environment. Again, this premise of, it's the environment that needs to shift, but that comes from us. It comes from within. And so the more that, and as we tap into this, and we'll talk deeper into Scorpio season and everything that's unfolding in our next episode with the coming eclipse, that is where we're directed to go at this time. And so as we align ourselves with that energy, we find that it becomes more and more clear.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love it.
Wow.
Oh, this has been great.
Yeah. Digging it. Well, I think that brings us to the end of this portion of October, so that when we meet again, we'll just be finishing it up, right? Ready to see what's on the other side.
Well, we'll be officially in Scorpio season, getting ready for the last eclipse in Taurus to hit. And I'll be getting ready for leaving Europe and heading into the warm shores in Mexico.
Woo! We'll be on the same side of the world. Awesome. I can't believe it. I feel like, yeah, we're the Mila's travels, amazing travels. As we go through each episode, it's like, where in the world is Mila? And then seeing how that all shifts. So I can't wait to see what is on the other side for that. Yeah.
Well, the star school is saying that, well, dream big, think big. So why stay in one place, right?
Yeah. Shine your light everywhere. I love it. Awesome.
Beautiful. So Marisa, as always, tell us what offerings you got going on.
Well, as we find ourselves here, as the wheel is beginning to turn, I think our focus will be on the November empowerment pack. At this point, I will be putting out the next month of empowerment will be coming forward, and that is a way that we can work together for the month, tapping into your personal energies for your month ahead, and we'll tune into the new moon and the full moon in November. And it's my favorite way to connect. And I think this is a great time to finish out the year, to step into some insight and guidance as you go. So that would probably be the number one thing to highlight. And we'll have the links there if you're interested in connecting.
Perfect. And yeah, if you would like to have a personal reading with either of us, you can find Marisa on her website, me on my website, which is moonlightsoul369.com. So that's where you can find us. And yeah, if you need some help, support, or guidance with regards to all these crazy energies that are stirring around, then that's where we are. So thank you, everybody, for watching. And thank you, Marisa, for joining me. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you all. Bye now.